Alright, bro, you may be feeling bored right now, and you may have the false impression that you need to be actively doing something all the time, whether it's conscious or not. And the feeling like if you don't do it, then you're gonna like fall off in your goals and you're like not gonna make progress in them and whatever. And although part of it is true to an extent, mostly I found that boredom can be a really good thing that we're missing out on. And in the next 8 minutes, I'm gonna share how I learned to accept and even embrace boredom because I realized that it can really be one of those catalysts of change. I'll also share with you like a unique take on boredom at the end, and this is made for you if you feel that you're usually quite bored and wondering that if this is a good thing or a bad thing, and whether or not like you should be less bored or more bored, and how it's like affecting the progress you make in your goals. So why do you need to accept boredom? What are some instances where boredom is actually good for you and it can actually help you make more progress into your goals? I make YouTube videos and I love making YouTube videos. You're watching one right now, for example. And there's always like this spark in making the videos and this creation process. And it's always been like mostly like 95, 99% fun for me. And all these like YouTube like coaches online, because I do watch like, how to grow your channel and those kind of videos sometimes. They say like, you have to be consistent with it. And like, it's like, no shit, of course you have to be consistent with it. But you got to create like the consistent style of videos and improve in that and create like binge-worthy videos where like a viewer or you will watch through like several videos of mine in a single sitting. And that is really high ROI to focus on. What that does is that it makes kind of like this video making process kind of mundane, because although this entire process is very fun, I will be honest, I love it. If you just keep making the same style of video over and over again for a year, like 2 times a week, then you can see how it can get kind of boring. And this boring, people might run away from it, people might avoid it, people might not be comfortable with being so bored, and will always just look for the next like big thing that is like shiny, this like shiny object syndrome. And the key is to stick with it and be consistent, because boredom is a byproduct of consistency. Like, let's say my gym journey, right? For the first like year, I spent a hell of a lot of time just researching, meticulously going through each and every like workout routine and sets and load, and going through everything, finding like the most optimal and high return on investment exercises that I could do that are most effective, efficient, the proper form, technique. All my shorts used to be filled with these gym dudes. Like, there used to be this kid called Mario Rios, Coach Mario Rios. He did shorts, and I also got like some tips from him. That's one of the prevalent ones that I remember. And basically I spent like an entire year just crafting out my workout routine and slowly improving it and experimenting with it and testing it over time and refining it to the point now where I just do the same workout routine like 2 times a week, like 2 push-pull leg days a week. And basically that is kind of boring because it's the same shit like every time. But that is also how I make the most progress in my aesthetic masculine body journey. That's also how I am able to stay so consistent with it, because I don't even have to think about it, because it's so boring. It's so like mindless. It's already done out. The workouts and exercises are already made out for me. All I have to do is just show up to the gym, give it my hardest and just go through the list of exercises. And that's it. Done. Mindless. So you can see, especially if you are like a young guy and you have multiple pursuits and interests, going to the gym doesn't have to take up like all your energy. And I know that the longer I keep going the journey, the results will like speak for itself. I don't even have to think about it because it's all systematized, and my body will look better and better. I'll be healthier and healthier, etc., etc. And it's all because it's boring to an extent. Boredom is also one of those things that helps maintain a healthy dopamine level, because like if you are like a young guy, young girl, whatever, you probably spend a lot of time just scrolling on shorts and just frying your dopamine receptors that way. You've probably already heard about it, but it's like basically giving you brain rot by scrolling for hours upon hours each and every day, just mindlessly death scrolling. And that also fries your dopamine receptors. So being bored, instead of just every time you get like some free time, you open your phone and you start scrolling instantly, just take the time to do nothing and be bored. And that will like help restore your dopamine levels. I kind of got this also from watching like Breaking Bad. Great show if you haven't watched, by the way. Absolute banger show. One of my favorites. And in one of the episodes, there's this kid and he is a drug addict and he is like super high, and he just killed someone, so he's trying to like drown out all that pain with noise, and he's like partying, he's getting drunk, he's just basically living like a degenerate, and he's completely frying his dopamine receptors. They're like long gone. But then he gets pulled out of it because he's too much of a liability to the business, and he gets put in his car. And this old kid takes him on like drive-thrus to do like pickups for dead drops. Basically, it's a show about mess, and the dead drops are the money that's pick up. And it's super boring for him. Like the old man doesn't even allow him to like play any music or smoke or anything. It's just sitting in the car for the entire day doing nothing. Point is that he was super bored, and that reset his dopamine levels, and it brought them down to like a healthy level, which you can also employ and make like a consistent habit. I also realized that being bored allows a lot of time for reflection and contemplation, because on some days where I didn't, I intentionally took some time to not do anything, where I kind of just sat and reflected and contemplated with like maybe a coffee or something. I found a lot of things that I could not have found if I was constantly drowning myself in work or scrolling or whatever. So boredom can be really good for you. It can really be good for your goals. And I'm grateful that I have been bored. So don't be afraid of boredom. Don't avoid it or run away from it. I've learned to become okay with boredom by reframing it and focusing on small wins. But boredom is not always good. And there are some nuances that I've found in this, which I'm going to share with you. The first is that being bored like all the time, although people can say that you can outwork people with it, it's how you maintain consistency and like all the list of benefits, it can lead to a very dull and very bleak life. It can feel like your life is just colorless if you're bored all the time for the sake of, making progress. You kind of get like this one-dimensional life. And this is kind of what I succumbed to like around like February 2024, March 2024, where I tried to become bored and go like all in on my goals and like become systematized to another degree. And although I thought it would make me more progress on my goals, it kind of did the opposite. And it just made my life more bleak and dull. And I realized that you gotta go get up and live and make it matter, bro. You can't just sit there in boredom all the time and cope by saying that it's good for you. Although, to an extent it is, passion is much more auspicious over boredom, bro. Make your life feel like a continuous holiday, and that's how you can also be consistent. Like, be bored in the way that you're consistent in things and that you have a structure and system, but also just remember to live, bro. I see so many kids on self-improvement, and just like myself, you get too like invested into it and you get too attached to it, and you kind of just lose like this arc that comes with life, and you forget to truly live life because you kind of just are in like this sphere of like this young like self-movement, which is like cool and hard-driven and disciplined and stuff. And although, like I'm saying, to an extent I love it, right, remember to live life, bro. Remember to have fun. Remember to make progress onto your goals in a fun way that you truly care about and that you truly feel fulfilled in. And this is just me talking from my heart, I don't have any script for this. Basically, just live life in a fulfilling way. Live life like how you would live for the rest of your life, basically. Like, don't like drown yourself in boredom just because some online influencer told you to. And I realized that I personally made the most progress onto my goals when I not only stuck to consistency and systems and stuff, but I also just remembered to have fun with it. Because I get to do this, I'm choosing to do this. There's no obligation for me. And that's all I just want to leave you with today. Maybe you came in here thinking that I was going to give you like, telling you that you have to be more bored and more systemized and stuff. But it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because you don't want to overdo it with boredom, I found. I don't know, this is just what personally has worked for me. Like, boredom in the way that you can be consistent, but not too much boredom in that you just live like a bleak life. Anyways, do watch like some of my other videos on my channel. Check it out if you like this video, you'll like the vibe. And as always, bro, your potential is only limited by your intention. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.